Michael Morrison here from Galway Bay Irish Pub and Restaurant. We've got 4 stars and several allegations of racism on Yelp. Galway Bay Irish Pub and Restaurant has all your pub classics: beef and Guinness pie, box tea, fish and chips, bangers and mash, an exclusively traditional Irish menu. So please stop flagging us for racism on Yelp. Every Friday night, Galway Bay Irish Pub and Restaurant features live traditional Irish music performed by the finest local Irish musicians. Please stop flagging us for racism on Yelp. They're the only people who can actually play the ball run. Galway Bay Irish Pub and Restaurant has 22 beers on draft, including Guinness, Harp, Smithwick's, Murphy's, Harpoon, Goose Island, and more. Please stop flagging us for racism on Yelp just because we carry Samuel Adams and you're pissed at the Founding Fathers. Galway Bay Irish Pub and Restaurant, located on what was once apparently Chippewa Indian land, but isn't anymore. For the record, I came to the States in 1987, so please stop flagging us for racism on Yelp. Open daily from noon until 1 a.m., at which point we're required by the law to make you leave the establishment, so please stop flagging us for racism on Yelp. Galway Bay Irish Pub and Restaurant, a little bit of Ireland, right in the States. Check us out on TripAdvisor. You're listening to Questionable Material, produced in New York by Jack Helmuth and Brian Sack. QMpodcast.com.
Season 2.
You say that. I'm not saying that.
Season 2.
Nope.
Questionable Material.
Fine, Jack. You want to call it season 2? We'll call it season 2.
I do want to call it
What's
season
different?
2
What's different? How have you changed? How have you changed?
Oh, there are a heck of a lot. Well, I've grown a lot as a person. I identify as a man now.
Oh.
Mm-hmm. Let's see. Other big changes. Obviously, I'm replacing my co-host. So it's going to be Questionable Material with Jack and Frank Calliendo.
Frank Calliendo.
Yep. So we're going to get some sick John Madden impersonations on the show. It's going to be great. You don't do John Madden impersonations.
I don't. I do Frank Calliendo impersonations, oddly enough. Isn't that weird?
It is weird. Let's hear your best one.
Oh, sure. Hey, I'm Frank Calliendo.
I didn't expect it to be that good.
Yeah, well, you practice, and that makes perfect, as we say in the Frank Calliendo impersonation business.
Is that a big business?
It's a huge business, Jack. There's so much money to be made in this.
Man.
Yeah.
Can I get in on this?
I would love you to. You could be in charge of the Western region.
What are the regional breakdowns? What are some of the responsibilities by region?
Well, if you're doing the Western region, that you're going to cover the Western territories. Sure. And the way I do it is anything west of New York. So New Jersey, Pennsylvania, all the way to Hawaii is yours.
Mm-hmm.
And then you just do your stuff. You run your Frank Calliendo impersonation business. And I get a 32% share of your take.
God, I love this. I'm totally taking advantage of you. Yeah. Oh my gosh. So all I have to do is do the entire country outside of New York.
Yeah.
And give you a third of my money.
Yeah, that's how it works.
You're such an idiot. What a classic TV boob you are to just give away money like that. I mean, I'm going to do all this work, drum up some money in 10 to 15 years, and then it's all mine except for a third of it.
Yeah, it's like Amway. I'm going to live off of your accomplishments, Jack.
Man.
Yeah.
I love it. Well, you know what? I just extended you. I've given you a 10 episode renewal for the podcast, and we'll see how long you lasted at season 2.
Well, I'm going to give it my best shot, Jack.
Yep. God. This is why. What are some things that you vow to our listeners to do for season 2? How are you going to change? How are you going to do better?
I want to do comedy for one. I'm tired of the way we've been doing things.
Okay.
I think people need to laugh. They need alleviation, Jack.
Disagree.
Now, I think, I know we've had this serious tone and everything's all serious and gloom and doom. And I know that works for some people. There are plenty of people on televisions, gloom and doom. What's that one? Oprah Winfrey, all these people. And then there's, there are people who need to entertain. I think there's a niche for people who are miserable at the news cycles every day, and they just want something funny, Jack.
Look, the episode where we read Lindsey Graham's Wikipedia page for an entire episode, an hour and 47 minutes of that, I think fans really responded to that. They don't have time to read Wikipedia pages of their favorite politicians or least favorite politicians, and that's what we provide. Why add jokes to it?
I feel like the time has come for entertainment. I just,
Okay.
I feel it in my heart.
In your heart, in your what?
Heart.
Hard?
Heart.
Is this because you've eaten so poorly that your heart has gotten hard?
No,
No.
it's, it's the way I pronounce it from where I grew up, Jack. And don't mock my upbringing, and let's focus on the positive.
Okay. Fair, fine. Fair enough. Look, there's some changes that I would like to make in season 2 that I think we can do better.
Like?
I think we should edit the podcast less. I think we should present ourselves as we are, imperfections and all. Especially, I think about the hours and hours of racial epithets we've had to sort of cut from the show. Mostly you when you go off on your rants about Whitey, pale face, honky man.
I am
cracker boy. Like
I'm self-racism.
All your
Jack.
racist shit, man.
You know what? I practice self-racism. And I have a book coming out called How to Be a Self-Racist.
It's already the #1 bestseller in the world.
I know. I hate myself.
What's the title again?
How to Be a Self-Racist.
That's great.
By
That's what America needs.
Dr. Brian Sack.
That's great. When did you become a doctor?
Recently, I took a course in Brian Studies. It's not aggressively academic. It's not super rigorous academically, but as long as I regurgitate what the professor tells me, I get an A and a doctorate. So consider it done.
That's great. Congratulations.
Thank
Who's
you.
the professor?
Bill Jack Whitmer. And it's all lowercase. He doesn't use capital letters. That's his thing.
What, is that too colonial?
Yes. Capital letters are very colonial, Jack.
Yeah. Christopher Columbus capitalized his name.
That's right. And look what he did. Genocidal maniac.
Yep. Well, that's very progressive of that guy. So tell us a little bit about this book. I'm really excited. Self-racist. Give us the title again.
How to Be a Self-Racist.
Well, this is great. What is it you hope to accomplish with the book, and tell us about the book? What is within?
Well, the book is basically how you can learn to hate yourself and feel guilty for things that may or may not have been outside of your realm of control, and how to understand that you are a terrible person and everything you've ever done or are or will be is because you're a jackass.
Well, I got to be honest, I've been having a lot of fun lately. I've just sort of been enjoying my family. I've been playing video games at night.
Family. There you go again with these terms. Family. What is family, Jack?
Oh, well, my wife and 2 kids.
Okay,
a
family.
dog and our
Family
new cat.
is that's a system that's been created by people like you to perpetuate having a wife and kids. Okay, the family structure is inherently something created by people like you, Jack.
I didn't even know this. I didn't even know that I was hurting so many people with my having a family.
Yeah, well, even the word hurts. It's offensive. It's oppressive. You're oppressing me.
I'm so sorry.
That's okay, Jack. Your words are violent. Stop saying sorry.
Is saying sorry violence?
Yes.
Oh, okay. I'm sorry.
I mean, the idea of apologizing, Jack, is a very Western European thing. It's an export. It's colonialism. It's imperialism, Jack. Hegemony and all the other words.
Wow, you know so many words that I hear about on Twitter.
Yeah, well, I went to school and I'm a doctor.
And what's your how does the book conclude? What's the last title? What's the title of your last chapter, and what is it about?
It's Go F Yourself is the title of the chapter, Jack.
That's great.
Yeah, it's basically you are complicit in being a dick, and then there's just a whole bunch of swearing and a lot of references to things, and also you're on Indian land, prick.
That's the final word?
Yeah.
Man, it's
Get
like
off.
Casablanca.
Get out of here. Go.
Okay.
And I just want everyone to know that I am morally superior because I acknowledge this and I put it all in a book.
God, I wish I could be as considerate as you.
Jack, some people are very aware of what they are, and other people, all of you, who aren't me don't seem to understand.
Now, Brian, Brian, the holidays are right around the corner.
Yeah.
And I've got so many white women on my shopping list. This seems like the perfect gift for them to make themselves feel good about feeling so bad about themselves.
Absolutely. You get that book so they can have it and hold it and say, read it, do the work.
And it's really important for them to be able to have other white women see them reading this book.
You need a token of your moral superiority.
Yep.
Okay. It used to be, an old fashioned religious symbol or something, but now it's a book, and it's a book called How to Be a Self-Racist by Brian Sack, by Dr. Brian Sack.
Right.
PhD.
PhD. Dr. Brian Sack, PhD.
Yes.
Okay. And are you legally, the lawyers at your publishing house are allowing you to call yourself Dr. Brian Sack, PhD?
I have not opened the email they sent, but I will assume that it's the case.
What was the title of the email? The subject line?
There's no way you can do this.
I wonder what that email is about.
I don't know. Could be about anything. Think about it. Flying by yourself. Can't do it. I tried to fly. Certainly, I jumped up in the air. I got up a couple of inches, whatever. But, a sustained flight? No, sorry, not a superhero.
Wow.
Yeah.
Well, if you ever find out what's in that email, share it with our listeners.
I will. You have my word.
Oh, thanks. That means so much. So, Brian.
Yeah.
There are a couple things I want to talk to you about. So now we've got that whole season 2 thing out of the way, and congratulations on making it to season 2.
Thank you. And what a coincidence, because there are a couple of things I want to listen to you about.
Oh my gosh. This is why we really are perfect.
Yeah.
This is that chemistry everyone talks about. Well, most of the time they're saying it's a sexual chemistry, but right now it sort of is like I do the thing that you need, and it's so cool.
Yeah. It's like you set it up, and then, I hit it, or it falls in the ground, and I pick it up and put it back on the tee. And then I take a swing.
Well, your sports analogy game is on point today.
I'm a good sports analogy person.
Really well summarized. So here's a thing that happened. A couple things happening in my life that I just want to get out of the way very quickly.
I can't wait to hear them.
First of all, I was late. We were supposed to record this episode earlier today. And instead of recording, I took my wife to get an emergency epidural because no, this is a real part of my life. This isn't one of like a joke segment.
Oh,
so I went to take my wife to get an emergency epidural, and because she's in so much pain that she cries almost constantly.
Really?
Yes.
And it's about the back pain. It's not about her life, her soulmate, anything like that. It's about the back pain?
Well, it always happens when I walk by wearing like a tight T-shirt.
Mm-hmm.
But I assume it's back pain.
Sure. So what is the cause of this quote unquote back pain?
Well, there's no need to put it in quotes because it's real. So she sat on a couch wrong. God's honest truth back in August. Her back has hurt since then. And every day it gets a little bit worse until a week ago, it was getting really, really bad. And then one morning she couldn't even sit up in bed. She was just sobbing in bed because it hurt too much. She couldn't stand up to go to the bathroom. And so it has now been a week of this where she is just completely 100% incapacitated. She's had MRIs and x-rays and all this stuff. And so finally she's just in such pain that we went and got an emergency epidural today.
And how did the baby come out?
Turns out all it was an unfertilized egg.
Wedged between her vertebrae?
Yeah.
Oh.
Yeah, because there's there was no sperm in there to fertilize it. So
I tried.
I'm so excited to meet my baby, but it turns out like I didn't do my part.
So she could have had a back baby, which is a really interesting baby to have.
Is it?
But instead of a back baby, you just did the epidural thing, effectively eliminating the back baby.
Well, Amy Coney Barrett said that was an acceptable thing to do.
Well, I don't want to hear how she thinks.
And she doesn't want to tell you how she thinks.
That's right.
So that's really appropriate.
So she's got back pain. So she's got quote unquote back pain.
No, you had it right the first time.
What about a chiropractor?
She's gone to see a specialist. She's taken more drugs than like Johnny Depp. She has gone to a chiropractor. She has gone to an acupuncturist. She has tried CBD oil, edible, marijuana, and everything, and it barely moves the needle. She says this is pain worse than childbirth.
So can she lie on her back?
She can, and then it takes about 10, 15 minutes to get up to finally, when she, I can finally get her up to go to the bathroom.
Does she have pain when she's lying on her back?
Yes. She has pain all the time.
What about if she's like in a crawling position?
Yeah. Why do you want to? Yeah.
She still has pain then?
And crawling position. Yeah.
What if she's arched over the blue sofa in your living room?
Oh, gosh, I haven't seen her arched over that in years. Jeez. I can honestly say I don't know why. I'm
just curious. What about the chair on the back patio? Could she sit in that maybe straddling what?
Straddling what? Straddling the chair?
Or like a Halloween decoration, like maybe it looks like a man, silver-haired man.
Yeah, I haven't spoken to the doctor about this. I don't know.
So
do you know a lot about medicine? What are these questions about?
I'm just a very medicine-oriented person. I'm looking for solutions, Jack. I'm all about solutions.
Okay.
To her problems and to mine. Because I want both of us to be comfortable.
For what you have to do with this?
Well, I mean, I care about her well-being and her performance and, her capability to enjoy and feel pleasure and be comfortable, whether she's, lying upstairs in your room or the kids' room or down to the sofa or the dining room table or the kitchen counter near the new refrigerator. It just depends. I want her to be comfortable. I want me to be comfortable.
I swear to God, you have more detailed knowledge about my house than I do. Strange. What's going on in the Sack family?
Ooh, boy. Well, my wife wants to open a sandwich business.
Oh, cool. There's big money in sandwiches.
That's what I've been saying.
I mean, the markup, if your inventory doesn't all go bad, you can you're looking at 8 to 10% margin on that. It is sweet money.
You could make some serious dough, literally dough, because you'd be baking sandwich bread to save money. The small profit margin is fine as long as you do it times a billion, Jack.
Oh, so it's a volume business.
It's volume. If I did the math, and if we can sell 780,000 meatball sandwiches in a year, we will make a serious amount of cash.
In the town where you're going to be setting up, how many people live in the town?
There are about 45 in the immediate town. It's a hamlet.
Okay.
And then outside the hamlet, there's another at least 300.
Whoa.
And then 18-minute drive, and you will be in kind of the epicenter of what they call the greater way outside of Albany area. And there's another 3,000 people there.
Man.
So, number one, I have to assume that they all really, really want meatball sandwiches. And they will all be willing to drive anywhere from 0 minutes to 47.
While you've been yammering on about this, I just Googled meatball sandwiches near Albany, New York. There are only 5 restaurants that exclusively sell meatball sandwiches between your house and Albany, New York. I mean, that seems like, there must be a market for it.
There is. And if you firebomb the other restaurants, then you are the only meatball sandwich place in town.
That's a really good idea. So if you just sell those 760,000 meatball subs without any of them, without losing any product or inventory to spoilage, then you're really looking at a lot of money here.
There's a lot of potential here. Lot of potential. Also, if we sold marijuana under the table, there's a ton of money to be made. You know why?
Why?
Because marijuana is not legal in the state of New York.
Right.
It is in Massachusetts and Vermont and a bunch of other places, but not New York. And you know what's great about that? It's great when you're in Massachusetts and you're driving by the place that sells pot, and you look in the parking lot and you see the Connecticut plates and the New York plates, and you think, thank God that tax revenue is not coming to my state.
Yeah, we don't need that money in my place. We don't need, sorry, schools.
Especially now after they turned off all the businesses.
Yeah, exactly. They shut them all down. But, oh, well, we don't need that money.
Nope.
You raise a great point.
Thank you. Idiots.
So you're thinking about doing one of these specialty marijuana meatball sandwich shops that I'm hearing all about is all the rage.
Yeah, well, I'd even call it M&Ms. So marijuana and meatballs. It's kind of like a, insider thing.
Yeah, that was really inside.
Yeah, M&M's place. And I mean, there'd be more than just meatballs. And of course, we'd have a variety of marijuanas because, there's Kush.
Yep.
And sativa. You could sprinkle, instead of oregano, you could sprinkle weed on the meatballs.
It's a great idea.
So then like an hour after you eat, you're like, oh my God, that was a fantastic sandwich. I want another one.
Really, then you only need to sell 380,000 meatball subs because obviously you multiply that by 2, you get your 760,000, which is your target.
Yep.
Boom, you're good to go.
Yes.
Man.
Yes.
I did the math on that. You only need to sell a meatball sub every 12 seconds for your plan to work.
Mine said you had to cook one every 8 seconds. So actually that 4 seconds is going to buy me a lot of time.
A heck of a lot of time, especially multiplied by the type of numbers you're talking about.
That's right.
Well, I really envy you, Brian. Enjoy wealth.
Thank you, Jim.
Jack. Hey, Brian.
Yeah.
I know you've been really busy lately, before quarantine sort of kicks in again and shuts everything down. I know you've been spending a lot of time out in Hollywood.
Yep.
And that's awesome. So is it true that you've just sold another slate of reality shows?
It sure is. I was out there. I was doing the pitching and the elevator pitching and the talking. And I was doing lunch with a bunch of, agents and producers and working my way through the system there. I love Los Angeles. I love LA.
Boy, I mean, just hearing you say these industry terms like doing lunch and talking. I mean, it's like clearly you are a Hollywood insider.
Yeah. It's just that thing that you just get. It's so much energy. There's such a creative passion around. Everybody's creating.
Yeah.
And so you just show up.
I don't even know what you're saying. You're so industry right now.
Yeah, I'm sorry. I'm trying. I'll switch it down to layman's talk.
Please do. So I was just wondering because I have a list here. Obviously the Hollywood Reporter has just announced the slate of shows that you've sold, and I was wondering if you could tell us about some of your shows, what they're about, what the competition is.
I'd be an absolute idiot if I didn't tell you about what these shows are about because I'm trying to get the word out.
Absolutely,
I'd have to be a moron
here.
I'd have to be a stupid moron, Jack.
Absolutely. I mean, okay. So here we go.
Yep.
Okay.
Yep.
So your first show that you sold is called Celebrity Superspreader. What's that about? That sounds great. It sounds very in the moment.
Celebrity Superspreader. Well, what I like to do is I like to switch things up.
Okay.
So in the age of COVID, you see something like Celebrity Superspreader, and you're thinking, oh, I know what this is. Gary Busey's walking around town without wearing a mask. That's what you thought, right?
That's what I thought. The first thing I thought.
Yeah.
In my notes here, I have a Busey walkabout.
No, but what we do is we take celebrities and we put them in a bagel shop in New York. All right?
Yeah.
And they're on the line. They're working the line. And what are they in charge of? Cream cheese. All right? It's not as easy as that, Jack. When you're in a bagel shop in New York, there's not just cream cheese. All right?
Right, of course.
You got cream cheese, and then you got cream cheese with chives, and you got cream cheese with olives, and you got cream cheese with salmon, and you got cream cheese with picante, and you got there's so many cream cheeses, Jack.
Yeah.
So imagine you take a celebrity, you put them working the line, physical work, something most of them have never, ever done.
Yeah.
They've got a spreader. They probably don't even know what it was. They probably think it's like a smushed knife and they're freaking out. And then you have typical New Yorkers lining up, ordering at rapid fire pace their bagels. I want an everything bagel and I want the Kalamata cream cheese. Go. And imagine Lindsay Lohan or Charlie
Sheen. Someone else from 15 years ago. Go ahead. Go.
Imagine any of the latest celebrities like Charlie Sheen or Lindsay Lohan.
Yeah, again, yeah, twice.
Dennis Rodman. Making bagels, Jack. Smearing the cream cheese, spreading the cream cheese. And then at the end, we determine who did the best job spreading the cream cheese. All right.
Okay.
And then, but the other ones, they have to go to the back room.
Oh, God. What happened in the back room?
They walk into the back room and then they're lined up. And then there's a chair. It's a big leather chair. Mm-hmm. And then the chair spins around. And who is it but the former president of the United States, Donald Trump, who goes, "You're fired." And then you look at it, and then the camera kind of zooms in, and there's a tear in his eye as he realizes that he's squandered a presidency.
But isn't he super happy that he's back on TV?
Of course. I mean, that's super important to him. But
it's just like less work and he can still be famous. And
yeah, but the happiness doesn't last that long. And then afterwards, he's ushered out of the bagel shop because he's in New York and everyone wants him dead.
Wow, that was a twist. And you've already secured, quote unquote, former President Donald Trump for this?
Well, we've reached out to them and they said, can you just wait a couple of weeks?
Wow.
So we're waiting to hear back. And if we can't do him, then we might do Simon Cowell.
Okay. Well, gosh. And so what does the winner get?
A dozen
$1 million?
A dozen bagels.
Oh,
and it's their choice. I mean, it doesn't have to be all everything's. It could be a mix of everything: garlic, salt, plain, onion, sesame, poppy, whatever. It's wild.
I mean, even Lindsay Lohan can afford a bag of bagels. I mean, is that really a reward that is suitable for a show like this?
It's the budget I got. I got to work with the budget I got.
Another show, I'm looking here at the Hollywood Reporter. Your list of shows is great. 90-Minute Fiancee?
Yes, 90-Minute Fiancee.
Now, obviously, this just seems like a ripoff of 90 Day Fiancé, one of the most popular reality shows in America.
Oh, is it?
Yeah, 90 Day Fiancé, where long-distance relationships are tested when non-U.S. citizens are granted K-1 visas, which allow them 90 days to travel to the U.S. to marry their American fiancé or risk getting deported.
Well, so 90-Minute Fiancé was inspired by 90 Day Fiancé.
I knew it.
Yeah. But it's a little different, the approach.
Oh, tell me.
So it's set in hospice care.
Oh,
yeah.
Oh, my gosh.
And what we do is we target people that they call EOL, end of life. And we prefer someone with dementia. And the Bachelor swoops in and convinces this person that they've had a long relationship and it's time to get married.
Okay.
And they need to hurry up. And if they convince this person who's at their end of life care with dementia to get married, then we have Corbin Berenson come in and he officiates a wedding ceremony. He's a registered minister. And we marry them. And then when the patient passes away, we split the proceeds of the will. So half goes to the bachelor.
You, Corbin Burnson, and the contestant?
Yes, 3-way split. And you know what? It's a mixed bag. Sometimes there's a decent catch. Other times it's not the best. I have a new Dodge pickup truck.
Oh, congratulations!
Yeah, I mean, well, it's kind of a pain to park in the city, to be honest. But because it's got the double wheels, I don't understand that stuff.
Yeah, no, of course.
But you never know what you're going to get, and that's kind of the mystery of the show, because it's not only like a wedding show, like Bachelorette kind of thing, but it's also got that element of the storage wars, like you don't know what you're going to get from the storage locker that you buy.
Yeah, I was just going to reference that. Yes.
Yes, you don't know what you're going to get from the woman that you convinced to marry you.
Wow,
yeah.
That's really exciting.
Yeah, and that's what a lot of them say. Because most of them are just left in their rooms all the time. So suddenly there's this big whirlwind of people and cameras and everything. It's very exciting to them. And in fact, a lot of the time it actually exacerbates their condition and they pass away within minutes of us leaving the premises.
Wow. Does that make does that make things quote unquote cleaner for you?
It makes it easier to come back to the premises and sign some papers. Because if we got all the way home, then we're talking like a drive or a flight. Could be a pain.
You got to rent another 12-passenger van.
That's right.
Yeah. Wow. Well, this is great. What's been your most successful, before we move on, what's been your most successful 90-minute fiance story?
Miranda Coggs.
Okay.
She's down in Kentucky.
Good people down there.
Yeah. She had a terminal illness. Wow. We were notified that it would a matter of possibly days.
Oh, so that's golden for you.
Yep. So we had Darren Hornswith and we got him down there. Good looking guy, I mean, he's not going to win any awards, but passable, right? He's a contestant, good personality, good heart.
Oh boy.
And so, he kind of swings into her room and she looks at him and she says, Alfred. And he said, sure. And so they start talking and it turns out Alfred was her old husband who passed away 20 years ago. Yeah.
Okay.
And so he just kind of played the Alfred game. So it's like we learned a lot about her. Apparently Alfred was a World War II veteran. It was a really sweet story. They must have had a lovely time together. And then he just kind of wraps it up by saying, hey, listen, I'm Alfred and you need to sign these papers. And she does.
And is this, I mean, I hate to be this guy, but is what you're doing legal?
It is legal. Isn't that funny? Yeah, we had a few people who questioned the ethics of it, and we asked them to leave the premises. But as far as the lawyers, they could stay because they said, if we do everything by the books, it's legal.
Man.
Yeah.
Well, congratulations.
Thank you.
That's a winner. I'm going to be tuning into that.
Thanks.
Oh, wow. I was wondering if I could just ask about your next show. And this is, I'm disappointed in you, Brian. Shart Tank?
Shart Tank. Yes, Shart Tank. Well, Shart Tank, of course, is exactly what you think. So basically, there's a panel of very accomplished business people from all the various industries. Mark Cuban, of course, and the real estate lady whose billboard was outside.
Barbara Corcoran?
Yeah, her billboard was outside my window for a year. I got to stare at her face every time I opened the window.
Kevin O'Leary, Damon John.
All those people. So that's similar. And but in this instance, while you're presenting, what we do is we modify. We have it's a U.S. Army weapon that's used for riot control, and it generates a pulse of pressurized air that attacks your bowels and results in what you'd imagine. So what we're looking for is how someone can stay composure. So if they're trying to pitch Pillow Pal, they're pitching Pillow Pal, and then suddenly their bowels explode inside their pants. Can they retain composure? Can they still stay on message? Because you'd be surprised. A lot of people get distracted when there's fluids running down the inside of their pants. They lose focus. Suddenly all the numbers go out the window. What was it? I don't know. My margins. What was this about? I forgot. Production. I'm not sure. I forgot. Was it Vietnam or Singapore? I forget. But it's amazing to watch how some people really stay focused. And even though you can see in their eyes, they know that there's fecal matter that making its way down to their sock. And yet there they are looking Mark Cuban in the eye saying, I know we can sell 300,000 units a year.
Yeah. Boy, that's exciting, Brian. That's okay. That's exactly what I thought it would be.
And you know what? I've already got a sponsor lined up.
Oh, who's that?
Depends.
That's the sort of synergy they're looking for nowadays, man.
Yep. I'm an ideas person, Jack.
Wow. What sort of like with 90-Minute Fiancé, what's the most successful instance on that show? And then we can move on.
Sure. What we had, so everybody loves chicken pot pie, right? Yeah,
everybody does.
So this chicken pot pie, it's it's Auntie Jean. Her name is Jean Skolak.
Okay.
She goes by Auntie Jean.
Mhm.
Adorable lady. She's probably in her 70s. But she makes these beautiful chicken pot pies with a flaky crust, absolutely buttery crust, phenomenally delicious. So she's presenting these. And then, of course, we activate the Shart machine. So as she's presenting them, the magic happens. You can see her kind of stop in her tracks because she's approaching O'Leary with the pie.
Yeah.
And a spoon. And she's like, please taste it. And he just kind of gets up as she approaches him, and he gets up and he starts backing off, and she's just approaching him and waddling. She's kind of walking weird. She's walking like this shuffle, but presenting him with the chicken pot pie. He just keeps backing up. And then finally he screams, $200,000, leave me alone.
So Kevin O'Leary invested $200,000 in Jeannie's pot pies.
Yeah. Without even tasting them.
Wow.
Talk about that being successful.
That is hugely successful. Well, it's really inspirational for all the entrepreneurs out there.
Yep.
I thank you for your service and for thinking of the small business person, Brian.
That's what drives this country. Small business, people creating jobs, people sensing an opportunity, coming up with brilliant ideas like Yelp.
Mm-hmm.
What's a way we could extort restaurants? Oh my God, a review system that gives customers complete control. Yeah, absolutely. And leaves the restaurants helpless and willing to pay money to make their problems go away.
It's brilliant. Because if there's one thing restaurants have is too much money and too easy a road.
Especially nowadays.
Yep, absolutely. I know you're excited about this one, even though it seems dry to me. I can't imagine how you're going to make this good TV. It's called The Real Houseplants of Westchester County.
Yeah.
Yeah. How is that good TV? The Real Houseplants of Westchester County?
Yeah, I don't think, everybody kind of writes off houseplants as being dull.
Yeah.
I hadn't thought about that. You're right. Jack, you know what pisses me off?
Bankers.
Yeah.
Pharmacies.
Yeah, clearly.
Certain people from certain Asian countries, but not others.
Well, I did get kind of taken advantage of in Vietnam. Aside from that one instance, it was pretty nice. But the best part was the massage.
Yes.
So we all got massages. The kids got feet massages, and then I got a back one, and my wife got one. And but I'm lying, very pretty masseuse, and I'm lying down, and she's just doing she's very good. And then she's rubbing her I just feel like this thing rubbing down my leg, the back of my leg, because I'm face down. Mm-hmm. So I'm face down. This thing's rubbing down the back of my leg. It's feeling really good. And I'm trying to figure out, I don't know how she's doing it and how she has such strength. And then I hear her breathing in my ear. So it occurs to me she's on top of me on all fours using her knee and rubbing her knee from my butt down to my bottom of my leg.
Okay.
And she was probably 20 years old.
Okay, great.
And very pretty.
Great.
All I'm saying, Jack, is that my erection pushed me off of the table and I ran out of the establishment.
Wow.
But no, it was really weird. I was like, oh my God, that's a fairly intimate arrangement. Climbing up on top of the table.
That's great. So do you guys keep in touch?
We do. I call it pen pal. My wife's a little suspicious, but
why is she suspicious?
Because I keep flying to see my pen pal, and she keeps saying, "Why can't it just be writing and postcards like it's supposed to be?"
Sure.
And I say, I want to see her face when she reads it.
Oh, that's so sweet. Is it true that you are basically the only person keeping Delta Airlines afloat?
I am one of their primary sources of revenue at the moment.
Because that's like $15,000 per trip, right?
Well, if you go economy.
Right. Oh, sorry. I know you don't do that.
No, I do super first.
Oh, so wow. What's the difference between first class and super first class?
You actually sit in front of the pilot. Like the pilot has to look over your shoulder.
Is that a better flying experience?
It's more fun because you see more clouds and stuff, except for the pilot tapping you on the shoulder saying, sorry, I've got to land. Pardon me. Do you mind if you could you kind of lean over so I can see the runway? That gets annoying.
Wow.
Yeah.
Now, a lot of people don't know this, but you were riding in super first class in Sully's flight, weren't you?
I was, yeah.
And that's why he didn't see the bird, because normally that's, there are always seagulls in that part of LaGuardia, and which they're always able to avoid. But you were doing your super first class thing.
Yeah, well, I said, guess which birds I see, and I kind of blocked his eyes. And he's like, I don't know. Please take your hands off my eyes. And then I was like, guess. And then we heard
that's cute
bird strike. People think he's a real nice guy, but he swore up a storm.
That's so disappointing.
At me and said, get out of my cockpit. And
What's his problem?
I don't know.
That's a vulgar word too.
And I know. And I said, what about super first, man? And he's like, I don't give a crap about your made up carriage class. Oh, Jack, you know what?
What?
There's stuff going on that you don't know about. And it drives me crazy.
Yeah, the stuff I don't know about because the Trump news cycle. We get it. We've listened to the show for years.
Yeah. Well, and so I found news you missed, Jack. News that you're not aware of because of the news cycle. It's so crazy. Is there
going to be like a new like a new audio effect for the start of each story?
Well, let's listen and see.
Oh, I can't wait.
I guess not. Jack, are you ready to hear some news you missed?
I guess.
During an Apple event on Tuesday, the technology giant announced it was phasing out Thunderbolt 3 ports on all of its computer, iPad, and iPhone models. Now, most folks are probably aware that Thunderbolt 3, which is not to be confused with Thunderbolt 2 or Thunderbolt 1 or Lightning connectors, is a high-speed connection that uses the USB-C infrastructure, which is different than the USB or USB-A infrastructure, as you're probably well aware, right, Jack?
Yeah.
Thunderbolt 3 will not be replaced by Thunderbolt 4, as you may have anticipated, but rather by a whole new port called ThunderCloud A1. Now, the ThunderCloud A1 port is only 2 millimeters wider than the existing Thunderbolt 3 port you're used to. So USB-C and Thunderbolt 3 cables will seem to fit in it, but will not in fact work unless they are ThunderCloud A1 cables. Now, ThunderCloud A1 ports will replace the Thunderbolt 3 port on all forthcoming iPhone 12A Pro Plus and 12A Pro Plus Max models, which will be released this December, just 8 weeks after the release of the iPhone 12 Pro and 12 Pro Max. The ThunderCloud A1 port will be placed where the iPhone power button is currently located, and the power button will be relocated to where people have come to expect the Thunderbolt 3 port to be. All pre-existing Thunderbolt 3 and USB-C ports, which are the same port with different capabilities, will cease to function starting tomorrow, but the port can be bypassed with a USB-C/Thunderbolt 3 adapter available for just $75.
Whew.
You're not an Apple person, though. You're a Samsung dude, aren't you?
I am. And I said to my wife today, as I was taking her to get her emergency epidural, that I hate Apple with a passion. And you have illustrated through reading a news story that you found why.
Well, you're missing out, Jack, because it is pretty hip technology designed in California. Produced in China, but designed in California, Jack.
Wow, that's well, boy, it sure is fun and easy to use Apple products. I'm glad they make those little changes just to keep people on their toes.
That's right. It's always an adventure with Apple. $1 trillion company. I wonder how. A Kingston woman spent $600 to have her lips injected with fillers and now looks like a dim-witted brunette platypus. According to an anonymous source, 27-year-old Daria Foswick had a bad father and now spends an inordinate amount of time and money attempting to lure men who are presumably attracted to the understandably unsettling visual of a face hidden behind abnormally swollen pucker pillows. Foswick, who is a teller at the Hancock Credit Union, is believed to think that the stares she gets are from envious women and lustful men. However, it's believed that her unnatural feature is largely nothing more than a focal point for individuals alarmed by egregious and expensive facial alterations.
I'm still on pucker pillows.
The former cheerleader posted a selfie on Instagram this morning in the hopes of securing some validation, unaware that the majority of the positive feedback she does receive is from teenage boys whose masturbatory behavior continues to desecrate a wide variety of socks.
Desecrating socks.
I guess, it's in the news.
I guess.
It happened.
I mean, if it's in the news. And this was from Good Housekeeping magazine?
That was Good Housekeeping, yep.
That's strange.
Only $8.99 an issue.
Gosh, that's a bargain.
Jack, listen. Okay. Oh, another one.
Oh, yeah.
A New Jersey man is trying to not think about his daughter going off to college because he knows damn well she's going to get some. 52-year-old Barry Lemler of Livingston told reporters on Tuesday that he's looking forward to his daughter enjoying her freshman year, and though he knows that means she's probably going to get some, he doesn't really want to think about that right now. Lemler's sexy 18-year-old daughter Amanda, who he subconsciously knows is enormously promiscuous, is studying computer science at a college several hundred miles from home and hopefully not doing it with the dudes in her co-ed dorm. In a statement prepared while trying not to imagine his daughter winning the Campus Booty Award, Lemler made it clear that he, quote, knows his girl is all grown up now and she's going to do grown-up things, but that the most important thing is that she gets good grades, and that is what I want to focus on, end quote. When pressed to comment, Amanda Lemler said,
How did the author of the article write that down?
Yeah, it's just a jumble of letters.
Huh.
I hope I pronounced it right.
Geez, me too. Well, great job finding all that news you missed, Brian.
Thanks.
You perform a public service.
Thank you.
You're welcome.
Yep.
Well, Brian, how do you think our first episode of season 2 went?
You know what bugs me?
Yeah, please tell me.
I just sent out the newsletter. Which I haven't.
It's very funny.
Thank you. I haven't done newsletter in quite a while, but I sent one out and I get the updates.
Yep.
52.8% of the newsletter audience has not even opened the email.
Ouch.
That hurts, Jack.
It is legit funny. Andrew Heaton, our old buddy from the Political Orphanage, sent you a very nice email in response saying how funny he thought it was.
He did. He liked it. And we got a bunch of emails saying nice things, but I'm going to focus on the 52.8% who didn't open the email. Why?
And the sound of Brian crying means that we're at the end of another episode of Questionable Material.
Thanks, Jack. QMpodcast.com.
Don't push your politics on us.
Oh, sorry.